In early 2006, Ryan the Improv God gathered improvisers in Pittsburgh for a workshop where 6 members formed a troupe who called themselves Hustlebot. Hustlebot performed for the first time at Evicted, part of Future Tenants programming, and continued to perform and grow over the next few months, seemingly riding the gravy train to greatness. When Christine and Drew, 2 founding members, decided to depart. Would the hole left by the 2 be enough to derail the train? Who could possibly fill these holes?
Well, I wasn't going to do it at first. I'd done enough commedia dell'arte in my time, but I was told that I would be replacing 2 people. So, didn't seem so beneath me after all.
John Feitner, superb actor, extreme talent, was called upon as a possible replacement.
We heard about this John Feitner guy. We really didn't know him that well. I mean, he wasn't at the workshops over the summer. We're all a little skeptical.
Yeah, I told John flat out it's not going to work. I mean, fill 2 spots with 1 person? Come on, who are you kidding? Nobody could do that. Nobody.
They brought me in on reputation alone.
John Feitner filled the 2 vacancies at the end of May 2006, after a lengthy audition process.
We asked around to see if anybody knew him, if anybody had performed with him before. Christine actually gave him a glowing recommendation. She said that he reminded her of me, which was good enough for me.
Ryan brought him into rehearsal one day, and we just clicked. And I thought, sweet. You know, this is going to work. This is going to work.
I like John.
Well, I attended a Hustlebot rehearsal to see if they had grown any since I'd last seen them. Did some scenes with each of them individually and asked a few questions, but they would need to audition for me a couple more times. All 4 of them.
I'm not sure what took so long for him to become an official member of Hustlebot. We liked him. He was good. He was too good.
Nang was right. He reminds me of me, only way better.
I mean, just seeing some of the stuff that he could come up with, the characters, and the right characters too, not just accents or silly stereotypes like we do. I mean, this guy was an actor.
If you took every dollar the Future Tenant ever made off of Hustlebot, turned them into pennies, stacked them end to end, that would not be as high as the bar that John set. Or as high as Ryan. He smoked a lot of pot.
So, once I decided they were good enough, I hired them.
With John now officially on board, Hustlebot was back on track and continued performing Evicted, even with a new set of students in charge of Future Tenant. Then came another departure when Ryan stepped down as the coach of Hustlebot, the only coach they'd ever known. Who would be the head of this household now? Could Hustlebot survive another departure? Of course it could, with the help of Michael Fuller.
He was like a ray of light.
He was an angel. A fellow thespian.
I think I made him uncomfortable.
Joe makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
Oh, we would have been lost without Michael Fuller. In fact, we were lost with him. I mean, he was lost with us. We were lost when he was with. We didn't have a
performance space because Future Tenant sold their space to Crazy Mocha, which made them homeless, which made Hustlebot homeless, which made us evicted. We were really evicted. Remember the show was called Evicted? So it was like a full circle.
Hustlebot closed out the Future Tenant space at 801 Liberty Avenue with a farewell show for all farewell shows. They said goodbye to a lot of history and started their vagabond days, performing in various locations downtown until the new Future Tenant space could be opened on Penn Avenue.
We moved around a lot. I don't think that affected our shows. The crowd, perhaps.
It was on 6th. I went to 6th. And then it was by the movie theater. I went there. Then it was at this other gallery. But then, was it at PNC Park at one point?
There's this one really sweet venue. It had roof access downtown. And we partied up there.
Well, yeah, but we partied up there alone. I mean, nobody came to the shows. A few people came, but it was just too hard to find.
Then when I got there, I was late, and it was 15 minutes left with the show, and then they said, "Oh, it's $10 more," and then they charged me $10 more fucking dollars.
Once we moved into that new building on Penn Avenue, we thought, good, this is exactly what we need. We're just gonna keep going up from here. We were excited.
But things weren't going so well with the landlords.
The new group of kids in charge of future tenant just had too much to do.
Oh, yeah, well, at first it was fun, it was exciting, but you could tell it wasn't one of their priorities. I mean, they didn't start this thing, so they were just doing it for a grade, so they weren't very interested in making it work at all.
Oh, they made great posters and laid them out on a table at the show. Strange.
Sometimes they wouldn't even be there for the shows. We'd have to go next door and get the key from Jonesy and then open it up ourselves.
I would like to see them crushed by something heavy.
I mean, you could see it coming. I mean, we were growing apart, and one side was trying harder than the other to make it work. It was just a matter of time. Then they broke up with us.
It was them, not me. Couldn't have been my fault.
We got a letter, an email, and I'd say it was downright condescending.
Dear Hustlebot, let me start with an apology for the extended period of unresolved with Evicted. We wanted to sit down and really analyze the situation, which took more time than we anticipated. This meant looking back at mission, purpose, blah, blah, blah. Hustlebot has become stable and strong, blah, blah, blah. Hustlebot has exceeded that purpose. We don't like that in a group. It drains our resources. So we would like to present Hustlebot with a new opportunity. You can host your own show, set up your own chairs. You become professional. You're real professional troupe, you Hustlebot. You don't need us. You're superstars. Hustlebot has outgrown their mission. Not lovingly yours, future tenant. P.S. Eat a bag of dick.
Not bitter or sarcastic at all, Hustlebot was evicted from Evicted, losing the only home they'd ever known at the only show they'd ever known. Hustlebot was homeless. Where would they go? Where could they go? Hustlebot's darkest days were upon them.
Just massive amounts of drugs. It was the scariest time of my life.